everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another MEMJ Let's Play. As promised, here I am. I am starting Roots Double Before Crime After Days. I have no idea what that means, but again, I wanted to get back into some visual novel style games, and I feel like we've waited long enough. So this one has permission to do a Let's Play of, so I think I'll be okay. And I know there's a lot of twists and turns and a lot of names that have worked on other famous visual novel style games. So I'm hoping this one's going to be good. I didn't read too many into the reviews or anything like that, but I just want to go into it. Let me make sure we got our voices in Japanese though, because I know that's what I like, and I know that's what most of you guys like as well. Do I get a choice? Do I not? Uh-oh. Is it going to be in English? That's going to be a little rough. I mean, it's fine. Okay, I guess we're good. I guess we'll just see what it's about. Okay, so we have, oh, there's different routes? There's before and after. Okay, so we have Watase Kasasagi. Story date is 9/16/2030 at 9:16 p.m. or a.m. maybe. 9 souls are trapped in Labo. They attempt to escape the facility in the face of that hopeless situation. However, reality sneers at those struggling to survive. At the limits of fatigue and anxiety and death looming over them, something lurks in their hearts. Is it the courage to never give up? Or can they cleave a path to the future with their own hands? Okay. And then we have before, which is 9/10/2030, so not that much more before. It's like 6 days. A certain accident traps children in Labo, a nuclear research facility. It is then that the boy is caught up in a mysterious phenomenon. He finds himself recalling the past as if he were reliving it. A strange phenomenon indeed. He soon watches once again as a trivial incident causes his peaceful days to collapse. What awaits him at the end is a shocking, cruel truth. Can the past be rewritten? Okay, well, I think we should find out what's going on first, and this one popped up first, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume that that's what I need to do. It's in Japanese! 牢に集められ、獄に閉じ込められる。多くの日が経った後、彼らは罰せられる。旧約聖書、イザヤ書24章。I've never heard the Bible referenced in Japanese before. That's kind of weird. The roar echoed through the laboratory at daybreak, as if it were a bell heralding the end. Something's gonna happen. Yeah, another explosion. Dang. The roars didn't stop there. The loud noises and violent shaking continued to echo through the facility. Dang, that is pretty loud. Oh, there's fire everywhere. Great. There's a fire. Followed immediately by shockwaves and the sound of screaming. This is an intense start, I'm not gonna lie. That seems a lot longer than what just... Okay. All gates barring those leading to Area N have been opened. There wasn't a soul in that place who yet understood what had happened here. A clear voice echoed amongst all the confusion and cacophony. That voice that announced the destruction was but a fragment of the truth. Oh, it's early morning. Okay. At the 6th Laboratory of Atomic and Biological Organization, a scientific research facility located on the outskirts of Rokume City, an explosion occurred. Ooh, I like this. Multiple explosions, I would say. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't be very calm in this situation. The automatic PA screamed out warnings as if it had broken. I wouldn't say screamed, but it was an accident that should have been impossible. Ooh, it's definitely on purpose. Everyone had begun ranting madly, caught up in the chaos surrounding them. Dang. Bakano. But then a calm voice rose as if to quell the pandemonium.
みんな落ち着きなさい。博士。忘れたの？有事の際には即座に所轄の消防署に通報が届くシステムになっていることを。
Well, that's good.
ものの数分で救助隊が到着するはずよ。
End of game, right?
そんな早すぎる。彼らは通常の消防隊員ではないもの。
They're like elite firefighters?
Serious.
Oh, they are. Serious. Oh, they're serious. Okay.
我が市が誇るレスキュー隊の精鋭たち。
Is this who I'm gonna play as? I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Except explosions. Lots of explosions. 6:26 a.m. The rescue squad arrived at the scene.
隊長、A チーム全員揃いました。
A row of rescue workers wearing protection suits stood before a man garbed in the same outfit. I don't know. I think yellow's kind of sus though.
現在このラボの中には無数の人が取り残されている。そして施設の性質上、これは通常の出場ではない。
Yeah, clearly.
この現状では何が起こるかわからない。
Tip, dispatch has been added. I don't know what that means, but okay. A young woman who appeared to be fairly new to the team gulped behind her faceplate. The captain looked at her and continued.
俺たちの任務は人を救助すること。いつもそうだったように、今日もそれは変わらない。だがお前たちはレスキュー隊員である前に人間だ。
Well, that's nice.
お前たちが生還すれば、それだけで1名の命を救ったことになる。
Okay, cool.
以上に留意し、救助活動に従事しろ。それでは幸運を祈る。
Oh! With that shout, they rushed into the facility, all while having no idea of what awaited them there. And thus, the dispatch that would later come to be known as Sirius's longest day had begun. Ooh. That was a lot shorter in Japanese. They all had the same conviction: to accomplish the mission they'd been handed by whatever means necessary. However, what they found lurking there far exceeded their imagination. Countless unexpected complications kept arising one after another.
森部、地下にまだ人が。行こう、副隊長。
笠崎、すぐに地下に来てくれ。
we're gonna have to tell them apart by like their armbands. Okay, I'm coming.
そこで待ってろ。
繋がらない。おかしいです。隊長に何が。
ここがエリアか。この先に例の2人が閉じ込められてるって言うんですか。
Those two? What do we got?
だから行こう。
Superhuman zombies? I swear if Nemesis is in this game, I'm out. I already had to deal with him once.
あの時、俺たちは誰も救えなかった。
Back then.
食材をする時がようやく来たんだよ。
Okay. Got some emotional baggage? I got you. I get it. I feel you. But even that determination can be crushed.
バカな。誰もいないだって。
騙されたのか俺たちは。
What?
なぜ誰に。
Whoa.
どうしてこんなことに。
That's not explosion related.
悔やむなお前ら。今は後悔する時じゃない。
That can't be explosion
ま
related.
だ任務は続いているんだ。
ただいまケースエラーが発生しました。緊急事態につきセキュリティを通常モードに移行。地上
What's a case N?
全隔壁を閉鎖します。
俺がその子を探しに行く。
Okay.
一人でか。
行くしかないだろ。お前たちは後を頼む。20分待って戻らなかったら俺を置いていけ。
Alright, fair enough. He swallowed his regret and ran, all in order to stick true to his convictions. I like this music.
ようやく見つけた。君はこのラボの関係者だな。
あなたは。
レスキュー隊だ。君たちを救助に来た。
Who are you? What's your name? Thus, he found the lone girl, and then
間に合うか。まだあいつらはいるはずだ。
I hope his like teammates aren't dead. This is starting off intense.
きっとこの先に。
Like, yeah. Compared to like Danganronpa or Steins Gate or anything, it's just like, no, we're gonna start by blowing up a building and like getting in there. Maybe the other one's more visual novel style, right? He endured the pain and kept on walking. And then, at the end of his mission... Uh-oh. That's not good. He came face to face with a monster. The monster took hold of his wrist. The monster looked at him and laughed. The man spotted a broken wristwatch out of the corner of his eye. At that moment, just as an indescribable fear sent shivers down his spine, he was assaulted by an intense pain akin to his brain being crushed. The man screamed, faced with an agony unlike anything he had ever felt before. He struggled to understand the source of the pain amidst the confusion engulfing him.
今のはまさかお前も頭の中を。
What? His well-toned body proved helpless in the face of that power. You monster. In spite of that, he struggled against it, attempting to complete his mission. Nevertheless, his will broke as the overwhelming pain surged through his head once more. He staggered backwards, clutching his head. The monster's face warped sinisterly, its gaze piercing right through him. Captain was cool too. He then fled without looking back. Okay, if he'd stood his ground, he'd be killed, annihilated. And so he held his throbbing head as he ran for his life. I have to get away, as far away as possible. He had to retreat to a place where the monster's powers couldn't reach him. But it was all for naught. Excuse me? Everything in front of him flashed as he felt an agony like that of his head exploding. That was the last thing he felt. And then, as if someone had flipped a switch, his consciousness faded into darkness. Eventually, far past that frozen time, awake, a voice called to him. Or perhaps it was merely a memory of such a voice. He heard that voice as he lay beneath the whitewashed tomb. And then, time began to move. What's happening? His consciousness was in an endless darkness. A world where everything was closed off. Sight, hearing, touch, smell, taste. He'd been disconnected from all his senses. It didn't feel like there was a world around for him to experience at all. Where am I? He didn't know. His head was a total blank. What is this? All he could sense was a feeling of loss. What's going on? It felt like he was lacking anything definitive. How did this happen? He desperately tried to figure out why. Soon enough, fragmented images twinkled in the corners of his mind. I see. So that thing attacked me. Is this death? No. The sound of a beating heart echoed inside him. He knew for sure he could perceive that. This guy is... No, not this guy. I'm... alive. Sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, pain. I have all of those senses. My body and consciousness are right here. I'm right here. Knock knock.
隊長、しっかりしてください。隊長。起きなよ、隊長。隊長ってば。
With the sound of those voices suddenly filling his ears, the man opened his eyes.
気がついたのですね。よかった。死んでるかと思ったよ。
Yeah, I thought I was dead too. The man said nothing as the women before him started addressing him.
っていうか隊長、なんでこんなところにいるのさ。式場にいるはずじゃ。 それよりご自分の名前を言えますか？今日が何月何日かは。
Alright, she's pretty collected. The man already felt confused in the face of a sudden storm of questions he'd been suckered into. He first tried to grasp the situation around him. The women in front of him were wearing orange uniforms. So they're firefighters. No, rescue workers? Their uniforms were covered in soot. Disaster, accident, rescue. Vague images related to those words swirled around the man's mind. Okay, yeah, so he lost his memory.
まだ起き上がらない方が。
The man ignored her warnings and sat up, then checked his surroundings. He was in some building he'd never seen before. He'd apparently been lying in the middle of a hall. He could see cold steel doors and fire hydrants lining the corridor. A glance up at the ceiling revealed air ducts, sprinklers, and so... A sharp headache hit the man at that moment, causing him to fall to the floor yet again. I thought one of the girls pulled him back down.
大丈夫？痛むの？
いや、大丈夫だ。
Just then, the man realized he was wearing the same uniform as the women. Why am I wearing this thing? He felt a strange sense of discomfort, like he had no connection within himself. Why was he in this uniform? The man stood up as he shook his groggy head. His body also felt off. Almost like his body and mind weren't properly linked. It kind of feels like this isn't my body or something. No sooner had this thought crossed the man's mind. Another explosion! Then did the air suddenly shake.
なんだ?
The woman paid no heed to the man's confusion and instead exchanged glances.
また爆発。火が出てるかも。行こう、副隊長。ええ。隊長はそこで休んでいてください。私たちだけで行ってきます。
I would say you guys sure you got it, but I can't really be of any help right now, so. The woman who'd been called Lieutenant broke off into a run alongside the other woman, who was apparently her subordinate.
ちょっと!
Scared of being left alone and totally in the dark about what was going on, the man followed the two. He called out to them as he started closing the distance.
待ってくれ、君たち!
隊長、休んでいてと申し上げましたのに。いや、大丈夫そうだよ。だったら手伝ってもらおうよ。
そうじゃない。
I hope I'm good.
教えてもらいたいだけなんだ。さっきの音は何だ？何が起きてるんだ？
何言ってんの、隊長。どういう状況か分かってないの？
Yeah, we have amnesia. The women looked at each other for a brief second.
来れば分かります。我々についてきてください。
Okay, hopefully I'm not a danger, you know. The lieutenant broke off into another run at those words, with the man hot on her trail. She then opened a door at the end of the hall, sending intense heat surging out of it. I like the little heat waves, that's so cool. What is this heat? A heat haze filled the area, distorting their vision of what was before them.
早く消火せねば。また爆発が起こる前にね。
The woman passed through the open doorway. The man followed suit and ran through the hallway, right into the fire, only to be greeted with hellfire. The man froze in shock at the scene he was confronted with. But the women quickly got to work without even a moment's hesitation.
消火ホースの用意を了解ちょっと隊長どいて
See, we're gonna be a nuisance. The female rescue worker pushed the man aside and pulled out a hose from a fire hydrant built into the nearby wall. She then passed it to the lieutenant, who directed its nozzle toward the flames.
放水開始了解放水行きます
Some pretty awesome ladies you got there. A jet stream of water collided with the flames, which erupted into large clouds of steam. Incredible. The fire's getting smaller and smaller by the second. The man stared at the swiftly dying fire with stark amazement. Just then, he heard something else mixed in with the sound of the flames evaporating. A faint sound. One. Was that a voice? He wondered if it was his mind playing tricks on him for a second. But as soon as he strained his ears... He definitely heard what sounded like a young girl's voice coming from the room in front of him.
あの部屋誰かいる
The man's body started running as soon as this thought hit him, weaving its way through the gaps between the flames. The room's door was crushed inwards due to the effects of the explosion. The man peeked into the room from the shadow of the broken door. Oh my god, and discovered a world of fire and smoke. Where is it? Where's that voice coming from? His hair was singed by the sparks, bathing him, creating an awful stench that hung in the air. What's more, his eyes were tearing up thanks to the smoke irritating them. But he endured it and focused on searching the room. Oh no. Found her! Through the fire and flames, he could see a girl crouching under a desk in the room.
大丈夫か
The girl looked towards the man's voice, with hope in her eyes. But the moment her gaze met the man's, her face froze. What's with that look? Overcome with confusion, he came to a halt. But at that moment,
止まるな
what's happening?
彼女を助けろ
He suddenly heard a voice. He didn't know whose voice it was. It sounded like it echoed from inside him. But the moment he heard it, everything suddenly fell into place. He finally realized why he was here. That's right. I came here to save her. The moment he came to that realization, his previously divided body and nerves seemed to finally become one. The flames were closing in on the girl. The voice resounded yet again in his head.
行け彼女を助けろ
Okay. And with that command giving him the final push he needed, the man lunged into the blazing flames. Okay. What? Was that the beginning or the end of the chapter? We apologize for interrupting you so early on, but there are no choices in this world. What? Regardless, we need your power to link this world to the future. So the Census Sympathy System, SSS, has been prepared in order to allow you to willingly influence the world. This tutorial will explain the SSS to you. But before that, let's explain what we mean by senses here. Senses refers to impressions, emotions, sensations in this context. To put it simply, it's your assessment of how you feel about someone else. All right. In other words, if their senses are high, you have a good impression of that person. But on the other hand, if their senses are low, that means you have a bad impression of that person. And the senses sympathy system exists to quantify your senses and reflect them on this world. Now then, let's explain how to change the value of your senses. Oh God. In specific scenes, a graphic that looks like a magic seal will appear in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, known as an enneagram? The enneagram, maybe, is a kind of personality accessor that categorizes people into 9 different personality types. Each of the 9 main characters of the story have been categorized into these 9 types. Thus, the 9 characters have been distributed into one of the 9 points on the enneagram. A graph similar to a radar chart is displayed at the top of the enneagram. This graph is a symbol that represents senses. The shape of the graph corresponds to the 9 characters, and its shape will change as you alter their senses. You can input the senses of 9 characters, which includes the protagonist. Thus, in a sense, you may have set the senses you have for yourself. In such an instance, you determine whether or not you have the confidence in your instincts and your opinions. Alternatively, you determine how much you value yourself. Senses sympathy system. Truly a system where you determine the protagonist's various sensations, senses each time. Your senses will be used to determine which scenario divergence you will travel down at fixed divergence points. At divergence points, the story will automatically diverge in accordance to the level of your senses. So you don't really have a lot of choice. It's how well you know people or how well people think about you. That's interesting. You simply can't put your senses whenever you want. You can only do that at a section known as branches. When you arrive at a branch, the enneagram will appear in the upper right-hand corner. Please check if the enneagram is displaying or not to determine when you can and can't input your senses. Allow us to explain this in detail through example. Okay, let's play a demo scenario branch where you actually control the system. First, please take a look at the next scene. The senses input hasn't appeared yet, so please just play through the text as you normally would. In a certain boy's house, a TV and game console were sitting in a neat and tidy living room. Just then, a girl came down from the hallway and spoke in an inquisitive voice. Yeah, I kind of am, actually. Not really. Mm-hmm. The girl looked at you hopefully as she said that. No, I want to talk to you. But I want to talk to you. The girl slumped her shoulders with disappointment, and she left the living room with a lonely step in her gait. I'm a horrible person. Why would I do that to her? This was an example of an occasion where your senses for that girl were low. Now then, let's play that scene one more time, with the goal this time being to make the girl happy. There will be a branch this time, so you can input your senses there. When you arrive at a branch, an enneagram will appear in the upper right-hand corner. I got it. Please increase your senses for the girl before the enneagram disappears. When the senses light up, please click it to bring the senses input screen. You can also bring up the input screen by pressing the V button. Okay? When you click senses, you'll arrive at the screen. This is the senses input screen. Use the cursor to choose whose senses you'd like to change. Bring it to the knob directly below them and change their senses. Click the decide button to set your values and to finish the input process. You can only do a senses input one time per branch. You can't input again if you change your mind after you've decided, so please be careful. But which one is it? Who's the girl?
しているの？ゲームの練習？とても大切なことなの？
So click. Oh, it's her. Okay. Can I? Like that? Are you sure you want to set your senses at these values? Once you set your values, you will not be able to change. Yeah, it's fine.
そっか。じゃあ忙しいんだね。ちょっとお話ししたいことがあるんだけど、今はダメだよね。
It should work. The girl looked at you hopefully as she said that. So you?
お話ししてくれる？いいの？本当に？はーい。ありがとう。
Oh, that sounds so adorable.
今日は七夕っていう日なんだって。それでね、短冊に願い事を書くと、それは叶うんだって。
Okay.
だから、今から準備しなきゃって思うの。
The girl then started talking happily about the bamboo trees that are set up on Tanabata. Oh, yay! I'm so glad. Congratulations, you have successfully raised the girl's favor. In this example, the girl had 2 different reactions, but there may be more than that depending on the situation. Also, there isn't just one sense target. If there is ever more than one target, you need to take into consideration, and you'll have to reevaluate your senses for them individually. In these situations, you can input for more than one character. But the only ones whose senses you can input are those who are involved with the next branch. You cannot alter the senses of an unrelated character. There will occasionally be times where senses hold a greater importance than usual. As such, there are 3 different senses colors, each one corresponding to the importance of the upcoming branch. Blue signifies an event where you probably influence a target's favor. A blue branch, as it's known, is generally not all that important. Okay? You don't even need to change your senses every time it comes up. All you have to do is change it whenever your impression of the target alters. But if you neglect too many blue branches, it could have dire consequences for you farther down the line. Yellow. Oh, okay, so the actual circle changes. This generally signifies an event where you can probably influence someone's actions. A yellow branch, as it's known, is generally very important. Expect them to signify big changes, such as changing your destination or travel partner. They're not dangerous, but it's best you change your senses to reflect your intentions at these points. And though it's rare, a yellow branch can signify that a branch of grave danger is approaching, so please be careful. Red. This signifies grave danger. A red branch, as it's known, is of the utmost importance. Decide incorrectly, and you will find death lying in wait for you. Keep your eyes peeled to avoid danger, and please check your senses immediately to ensure there are no problems. Also, branches directly related to the story's conclusion will be red. We recommend you exercise cautious judgment there in the same way. This concludes the senses sympathy system explanation. Your senses will change the situation in various ways. Now then, let us return to the world. When time starts again, a senses input will appear right away. The anagram, I guess, will be glowing yellow. This indicates that a branch of great danger is coming up. Should you choose wrongly, death may soon claim the man. Please look over the situation calmly and select your senses right away. We are expecting your feelings to have a good effect on this world. Okay. I'm gonna save. Here we go. The man screamed this and was about to rush into the flames, but was interrupted by someone grabbing him by the collar. Okay, so I'm gonna... Can I max out both? How do I don't know if I should. I don't know if there's like a certain number of points that you can use. You know, like you can't max out everything, right? Okay, Jun Moribe. Oh, whoops, I went back. Okay. Sure.
隊長、ダメだよ闇雲に飛び込んじゃ。
しかしこのままではあの子が。
ここは私が行く。
Once he heard her say this, the man
俺に任せろ。
quickly gave his reply. Oh god, okay. I'm gonna turn his down a little bit? I don't know what I'm doing. But just as he was about to continue running, the blaze in front of him flared up violently.
ああ、もうだから休んでてって言ったのに。そんな危うい足取りじゃ邪魔になるだけだよ。
See, I was wondering if we should boost his confidence so he goes to save her, but he might get himself killed if he's too confident when, like, he doesn't know what's going on or who he is yet. So that's why I gave it more to her.
すまん。やっぱ頼む。
あいや。
The female worker quickly brushed the man aside, dashing into the room.
放水援護よろしく。
Because also that girl was scared of us, right? So, like, I don't want her to run away or be killed or something. So I think I made the right choice, but I don't know how much you have to work with. The lieutenant pointed the hose upwards. The jet stream shattered apart when it hit the ceiling, scattering into a spray. The female rescue worker then ran into the room as if clad in that water. What an amazing technique. It was perfect teamwork. The female rescue worker then ran up to the girl through the mist and steam.
しゃあ、要救助者確保。
Yay, we did it! And shouted triumphantly. That dramatic rescue happened in the blink of an eye. A few minutes later, once the roaring inferno had been doused, the rescue workers tended to the girl they saved.
さあ、お嬢ちゃん、もう大丈夫だよ。お怪我はありませんか？
Is she still scared of us? The man stood a short distance away, observing them. In the end, he'd been completely useless, both at putting out the fires and saving her. So he figured the least he could do was talk to her.
そのなんだ。無事でよかったな。
Another frightened look engulfed the girl's face at that moment.
体調がどうしましたか？
え、俺は別に何も。
怖がらせないでよ。隊長、目つきが怖いんだよ。
I'm sorry, okay? It's just the face I was born with.
いや、すまなかった。驚かせちまったみたいだな。だが安心してくれ。俺たちは味方だ。君を助けに来たんだ。多分。
I was gonna say, are you sure about that? The girl's body shook with a start upon hearing that.
隊長、どうして多分なんておっしゃるんですか？そうだよ隊長。さっきからなんか変だよ。
Because I have amnesia.
状況がわからないとか言うし、なんか全然使い物
Put
に
it
ならない
together.
し。
Piece it together.
すまん。
You guys are rescue workers. Because he didn't even recite what his name was or what day it is or anything, even though you guys asked that. But, like, come on. Okay, after giving a brief apology, the man fired off another
ところ
question.
で、二人に聞きたいことがあるんだが、俺が隊長って呼ばれてるってことは、つまり、俺はレスキュー隊かなんか
His
の
brain's
隊
not
長なんだ。
working the way it should.
はあ？隊長、何言ってんの？それはどういう意味でしょう？
The man thought hard once he heard their surprised answers. But as he feared, he couldn't locate any information about himself in his head.
実は、わからないんだよ。自分が誰で、ここがどこなのか。
I like that the girl in the middle is surprised too, like, what? The woman's faces twitched at that proclamation.
それはまさか
I have amnesia!
記憶喪失？
I have to. I'm the protagonist. Amnesia. The man mulled over that word. So that's what it is. But for some illogical reason, the answer, no, that's not it, suddenly popped into his head. It's more like my mind's denying me the right to think about who I am. It was a strange feeling. But since it didn't look like he could explain what had happened to him very well, he reluctantly decided to go with their suggestion.
そう、いわゆる記憶喪失らしい。
また冗談やめてよ隊長。
いや、これが冗談ならいいんだが。
もしかしてマジなの？
For real, for real.
お待ちください隊長。頭に怪我などはされてませんか？
It shattered. Does that count? So, okay, here's my guess. Here's my theory right now, right? Is that somebody else is in this body. And I'm kind of going off of like some of the other visual novel games I played before, and I don't want to ruin those plots, so I'm not going to say anything, but it could be like consciousness is going from one person to another. And so that's why the body and the mind aren't linked the way they're supposed to be. It's not just amnesia, because he was also hearing a voice that was saying like, no, you need to save her. So maybe there's a little bit more to it than that.
怪我？そういえばさっき頭がズキンと痛んだが。
やはりどこかに頭を打ちつけた可能性があります。意識や記憶の混濁はおそらくそのせいでしょう。ならば記憶は時間が経てば戻ってくるはずです。
そういうものなのか。
ええ、外傷による逆行性健忘症はほとんどの場合は特に治療をしなくてもやがて自然に症状が消えるそうです。
I'm sure it's going to come back at the most inconvenient time. The lieutenant calmly explained that as she threw around a few technical terms here and there.
これは一時的なものか。
はい。ただ脳が損傷していた場合、健忘症は恒久的になる恐れがあります。
Thanks.
さらにそのまま放置すると脳に障害が残ったり死亡してしまうケースも考えられます。
Double thanks. The man felt a shudder run through him at those words.
何それ、やばそうじゃん。隊長、頭痛の程度はどうなの？吐き気とかは？
あ、今は全く痛まない。吐き気も特に感じない。
なら安心かな。いや、まだです。
Stop making me
ちょっと
nervous.
失礼します。
The woman grabbed the man by the arm. Also, it's saying the man and not like me, right? It's not saying she grabbed my arm. It's saying she grabbed the man. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing out some theories there, right? It could be a narrative choice, but it seems weird. Okay, rolled up his sleeve and looked at his wrist. He hadn't noticed it until that moment, but he had some kind of wristband-like object wrapped around it.
バイタルチェッカーと言います。装着者の健康状態を自動診断するものです。
I didn't know we had one of those. A closer look revealed that there were several numerical readings and 5 green lights on the
コンディ
device.
ションオールグリーン。脈拍、血圧等に問題なし。完全に健康体ですね。
Yeah, I am. I'm just dumb.
じゃあとりあえず死んじゃうような心配はないかな。ただ確実な診断ではないので楽観視はできません。後ほど精密検査と治療
I
を受
mean,
けて。
that's fair. The female rescue worker's eyes widened as soon as she heard the lieutenant's reply.
やばい。それよりもまず副隊長。
What?
お嬢ちゃんに AD を投与しないと。
The lieutenant's face froze at those words.
いけない。私としたことが。
AD? The lieutenant wasted no time in taking something out of her pocket. There was an ampule loaded in a transparent container. The lieutenant turned it towards the girl and spoke.
腕を出してください。
打ちたくない。
What?
ダメです。投与しなければ危険なんですよ。
What is it? The girl turned around and tried to run, but the lieutenant grabbed her before she could. She then rolled up the girl's sleeve without giving her a chance to speak and pushed the tip of the ampule into the girl, injecting her with its contents. Aww. The girl's eyes widened and her body trembled. Feeling rather unnerved by her reaction, the man spoke up.
なんだその薬
AD と言います。簡単に説明すると放射線被曝を防ぐ薬です。
Anti-radiation? The man felt an ominous echo in those words.
被曝を防ぐ薬だって。
ええ、今回の任務にあたってこの施設の関係者から支給されたものです。
But she's been here. I don't want to say lived here, but like obviously she was in this building, so...
我々が生き延びるにはこの薬品の投与が不可欠なのです。
Why? The lieutenant surveyed her surroundings, then continued in a bitter voice.
現在この施設内はくまなく放射線に汚染されていますので。
That's going to be important later, isn't it?
何
Nani? The bad feeling I'd gotten earlier only intensified with that statement.
ちょっと待ってくれ放射線とか汚染とか一体どういうことなんだここって何の施設なんだ
It's a school, of course. The lieutenant took a good hard look at the bewildered man and followed up with a clear answer.
研究用の小型原子炉を要する原子力科学研究所です。その原子炉がつい2時間ほど前メルトダウンしたのです。
Even though it was supposedly the first time hearing that word, it still managed to send shivers down the man's spine.
メルトダウンって
簡潔にご説明しますと、何らかの原因で原子炉が融解し、炉内の核燃料が外に漏れ出すことです。しばしば爆発や出火などを伴う極めて重篤な事故。
Yeah, I'd say it's probably pretty serious.
それにより人体に悪影響の強い放射線が拡散し、施設全域を汚染しつつあるのです。
We're gonna have to fight Godzilla, aren't we? Godzilla's at the end of this game, isn't he? He's the final boss.
バカな汚染って言ったってそんな兆しはどこにも
放射線は目には見えません。匂いもありません。しかしそれでも確かに人体を蝕みます。
Actually, why aren't you guys wearing your little suits anymore? The lieutenant then took some sort of device out of her pocket.
放射線計測器プロキオン。ここに表示されている数値は現在毎時1108ミリシーベルト。
I'm sorry, what?
これは自然界における放射線量の約2000万倍にあたります。
2000万
放射線は通常の環境下でも宇宙や地表などからわずかに照射されていますが、線量が弱いため人体に影響はほぼありません。しかしこの1108ミリシーベルトという異常に強い線量にさらされた場合、
It's not good.
つまり被曝した場合、人体に深刻な悪影響が現れます。皮膚のただれ、嘔吐感、臓器不全、脳細胞損傷、視力障害、神経障害、遺伝子障害、そしてがん。
The lieutenant's matter-of-fact explanation caused all of the hair on the man's body to stick up on their ends in fear.
100ミリシーベルトも被曝すれば、これらの健康被害が発生し得ます。そう考えると、現在の線量はあまりにも強すぎる。本来であれば、わずかに立ち入ることすら絶対に許されないような環境なのです。そして線量は場所によって多少上下しますが、どこにいても被曝は避けられません。
This isn't going to be good.
避けられないって冗談だろなんでそんな状況で落ち着いてられるんだよ
お待ちください。説明を最後まで聞いてください。
You're a terrible captain, sir. The man instantly shut up at the lieutenant's firm voice. She gestured to the empty ampule in her hand and continued.
しかしこの AD という薬を投与しておけば、汚染レベルの低いところならほぼ 100% 被曝を予防してくれるのです。
Okay, I'm gonna save. What do you want me to do? I'm gonna trust her. Yeah. I'm gonna trust her.
100%。
これは通常の薬剤ではなく医療用ナノマシンを
Nano machines
含んでいて人体が受ける放射線を無害化排出してくれます。有効時間はわずか60分ですし本数もあまりありませんが
But we've been in here for 2 hours? Upon hearing her whole explanation, the man chose to trust her.
そうなの
Yeah, I think that's good. I don't think we want to doubt her. Everything he just heard was so utterly unrealistic, but given how the lieutenant said it all with a straight face, it was probably true. But he suddenly felt a chill run through him.
それ俺たちは撃たなくて大丈夫なのか。
我々は先ほど投与したばかりですが
The lieutenant and her subordinate gasped.
そういえば隊長が最後に AD を投与したのっていつ？
I don't know. I don't even know who I am. What are you talking about?
わからん。
やばいよ、念のため投与しておきなよ。隊長もきっと持ってるはずだからさ。
The man frantically searched his pockets and quickly found an ampule in one of them.
あったぞ。
使い方は簡単だよ。専用のカートリッジが付属してるからそれを装着して、あとは先端を折って静脈に密着させてノック部分を押すだけでいいから。
Break off the tip? It doesn't even give you like a needle. You just gotta freaking shatter it?
こうか。
Urged on by the woman, the man loaded the ampule into the cartridge. Once he injected it, the fluid in the container entered his body, accompanied by the slight prickling pain that came with the shot. And at that moment, he felt like something faded from his head. What's this feeling? Is it a side effect of the drug?
どうしたの隊長？
Did I do something bad? Did I break the link? Oh no!
一安心。
The idea of feeling safe in this situation was totally insane to the man. There's no way in hell I could accept a messed up situation like this so easily. He decided to try asking a question in an attempt to keep himself from worrying.
なあ、教えてくれないか。俺は何者で、今はどういう状況なんだ。それとそう、出口だ。この施設の出口はどこにあるんだ。
It's through the fire. The lieutenant and her subordinate exchanged glances upon hearing his chain of questions.
出口か。
Oh yeah, they're totally gonna laugh at you.
ではこれからそこにお連れしましょう。歩きながら現況をご説明します。
Their words seemed to carry a heavy weight to them.
ああ、よろしく頼む。
了解しました。隊長もお嬢さんもこちらへどうぞ。
The lieutenant started walking. The rest of the group soon followed after her. The group, led by the lieutenant, approached what appeared to be a connecting passageway. It was blocked by a metal door, but that opened once the lieutenant had operated a nearby terminal. On the other side was another block that looked like it belonged in an office building. This place is huge. Just then, the lieutenant turned to the man and spoke.
隊長のパーソナリティと現状のどちらを先に知りたいですか？
ああ、パーソナリティ。
I mean, I guess you would be more confused about that, but I want to know about the situation.
わかりました。まず隊長のお名前ですが、笠崎渡瀬と言います。
Okay.
笠崎渡瀬。それが俺の名前か。
The man, no, Watase, listened to the lieutenant list off facts about him with a strange feeling in his
年
heart.
齢は32歳、独身。
Oh, that hurts. That hurts. Why you gotta bring that up?
6名士消防局特別高度救助隊シリウス所属のいわゆるレスキュー隊員。階級は消防司令補。そして私たちの隊の隊長、つまり直属の上司になります。
Okay.
ここまでで何か思い出せることはありますか？
いや、
Yeah, the single
何も
part
思い出せない。
it hurts.
そうですか。
What am I doing? Should I leave those to the max? I don't know why I wouldn't.
ところで、君たちの名前は？
申し遅れました。 私は立花風見消防士長。あなたの下で副隊長を務めさせていただいております。
Very reliable, I must say. Watase carved this information into his memory. Oh, yay! Kazami Tachibana, my lieutenant, huh? Seems cool and collected type if you ask me. The woman named Kazami appeared to be strict, both towards herself and others.
風見さんと呼べばいいのかな。
いえ、立花とお呼びください。継承等は不要です。
Watase nodded. Just then, the other rescue worker spoke up.
で、私が森部純、消防士、20歳。今年入りたての新人隊員。
Okay.
異名はシリウスの女特攻隊長。キャッチフレーズはカンと書いて純と読む。以後よろしく。
Okay, sure, why not? She felt like the complete opposite of Kazami. Jun Moribe, the team's newest recruit, huh? She sure is a bright bundle of energy. She seemed to have a fierce will, and yet a cheerful and friendly personality. She didn't appear to be very suspicious of the hierarchy in the group, perhaps because she was a lot younger than her superiors.
口調が失礼なのはどうかお許しください。何度言っても是正されないのです。
It's fine.
私も普段は気をつけてはいるんだけどさ、現状に出るとついつい気性も口調も荒くなっちゃってね。
It's fine, don't even worry about it. Let's drop the formalities.
別に構わんよ。むしろ親しみやすいくらいだ。
Yeah, seriously.
やった、今日の隊長ってば話がわかるね。
Today's captain understands. Well, it looks like she's got the skills to make up for it. She'd have to have nerves of steel to stay so cheerful in a situation like this. Watase then turned to the last member of the party as that thought crossed his mind.
それで、そっちのお嬢ちゃんの名前は？
Aww. The girl hid herself behind Jun as Watase asked.
あらら隊長、ずいぶん嫌われちゃって。そんじゃあお嬢ちゃん、私にお名前教えてよ。
D? The girl only gave her first name.
ゆうりちゃんか。かわいい名前だね。
That's a cute name.
よろしく。
Yuri something. Something about that name bugged Watase. It feels as though I've heard that name before somewhere. But no matter how much he studied her face or searched his memories, he couldn't remember anything solid. So he decided to give up and turned his attention back to Kazami.
じゃあ自己紹介も終わったことだし、次にここで何が起きているのか教えてくれるか？
了解しました。それではまずこの施設についてですが。
Kazami then quietly began to speak.
ここは六名市という町の郊外にある原子力研究所の中になります。
Okay.
原子力研究所というと？
詳しいことは私にも分かりませんが、要するに原子力に関わる各種研究を行う施設のようです。施設名は原子力生物学機構第6研究所、通称ラボ。
There's a lot of sixes because it's like a six-sided building and then it's a sixth laboratory.
地上2階、地下2階建ての建物で地下に研究用の原子炉がありました。
Hopefully we didn't summon a demon.
そして本日2030年9月16日午前6時19分。
No, at least in this reality, you know, the world doesn't end in 2020.
その地下で原因不明の爆発が起きました。同時に各所で火災が発生し、それにより施設の制御システムの一部に障害が生じました。このままでは原子炉の冷却機能にも障害が及ぶ恐れがあり、メルトダウン発生の可能性も出てきたため、その手の災害対策の訓練も受けている我々シリウスに救助要請が入りました。
It makes sense. I'm not gonna say it doesn't.
そして6時26分、我々は現場に到着。要救助者の捜索を開始しました。
Watase looked at the sturdy watch around his wrist. Its digital display read 9:27 a.m.
およそ3時間前か。
現場に突入したのは それぞれ5名からなる A と B の2チーム。我々は A チームです。隊長は地上1階に前線基地を設置し、そこから A チームを指揮していました。
Okay.
A チームは私と森部、それに堂島と檜山という隊員が組んで2名2組で行動
So we're
して
missing 2 people.
しかしその後、堂島檜山組との無線連絡が断絶。ついで隊長との連絡も断絶しました。これが6時35分頃のことです。
何があったんだ？
この時、隊長たちは地下に降りたのかもしれません。地下は電波状態が悪く、無線がほぼ使えないようですので。
そうか。でもどうして俺たちは地下に降りたんだろう？
要救助者の捜索のためという可能性があります。
Okay.
ラボ関係者によると、地下部分の避難はすでに終了し、地上部分にのみ要救助者が取り残されているという話だったのですが。
救助活動中に地下にも要救助者がいることが分かってね。それで私と副隊長も地下に降りたんだ。でも地下の火災が予想以上にひどくってさ、私たちが前に進めないでいるうちに要救助者も見失っちゃって。
It seems planned, doesn't it? It seems like it was a coordinated attack.
そこで我々は地下2階に簡易基地を設置して、再び捜索活動を開始したのです。そしてその直後、7時15分頃、KSN を告げる不穏な警告放送が施設内に流れました。
Okay, KSN?
KSN？ なんだそれは？
おそらくはニュークリア、核を意味する言葉の
That's not good.
だと考えるのが妥当かと思われます。
Case N for not good.
私たちの業界には N 災害って呼称があるんだよね。その場合だと N は核による災害を意味するのさ。
核か。それに関する警報が鳴ったってことは。
Peacemaker, loyalist. I guess I'm good. I'll just trust everybody for now. Why not?
ええ、我々はこの時刻に原子炉エリアでメルトダウンが起きてしまったものと考えています。放送の後にプロキオンをチェックしたところ、放射線量が異常に上昇していました。なのでおそらく間違いないかと。
I probably shouldn't be blindly trusting everybody, right? But I'm still new to this, so.
KSN っていうのはメルトダウンを指す隠語だろうね。
By the time they'd finished explaining, the group had arrived in Area 2.
だったらできるだけ早くこのお嬢ちゃんを外に出してやらなきゃいけないんじゃないか？
Watase looked down towards Yuri. She looked even more scared than she did earlier.
我々もそう思うのですが。
But see, I think we can like maybe get her trust. Maybe? I don't know what we did. We might have tried to kill her before. I have no idea. She might be like, he has amnesia now, but he'll remember later.
地上につながる階段はこの第2エリアにあるんだけど。
Kazami and Jun paused, then looked down the hall. Standing there was a door with a plate that read emergency
何
staircase.
煮え切らないことを言ってんだよ。出口はあそこだな。行こう、ユーリ。
お待ちください、隊長。
Watase ran towards the door. Kazami's voice grows fainter and fainter with each step. He ascended the dark staircase and immediately died. But when he saw what awaited him at the top, Watase found himself rendered speechless.
なんだこれは。
An iron wall was lying just short distance away from the top of the stairs.
つまりこういうことなのです。
It's on lockdown. By the time he came to his senses, Kazami and the others were standing right behind him.
こういうことって。
実は現在、地上につながるすべての出口にこの隔壁が降りてしまっていて、私たちはこのラボの地下に閉じ込められているのです。
There we go, there we have it.
閉じ込められてるだと。どうして？
わかりません。ともかく KSN とやらが発令されると同時に地上に続く全隔壁を封鎖しますという放送が流れました。
Yeah, it did, I
だ
remember.
からおそらくどこにも出口は。
そんな。 外にいる人に連絡して開けてもらうってのは。
連絡ができないんだよ。
Yeah, this is 100% planned. There's no way these coincidences would stack up like this.
ラボ内の電話は全部普通になってるし、無線も最初はなんとか使えたんだけど、なぜかどんどん通信状態が悪くなって、今じゃほとんど通じないんだ。
だったら壊すなり無理やり開けるなりすればいいじゃないか。
Dang. Watase tried pounding his fist on the bulkhead, but it didn't budge an inch.
くそ、開けよちくしょう。
But no matter how hard he punched, kicked, or pushed it, nothing changed. Also, he's hurling insults at it. It's not helping them. It didn't look like something could be dealt with human hands alone.
こりゃ爆薬でもなきゃどうにもならなそうだな。
残念ながら爆薬なんてないよ。今の私らには破壊不可能さ。
この隔壁のせいで地下と地上が完全に分断されているのです。
Watase finally understood the situation when he heard Kazami and Jun's comments. But it was a hard pill to swallow.
他に脱出に使えそうな場所は。
皆無です。我々も閉じ込められてから2時間、あらゆることを試しましたが。
Yeah, I'm sure they've been very resourceful too.
エアダクトは通行不能、エレベーターは使用不能、天井は破壊不能です。
しかも本来この施設には完璧な消火システムがあるはずなんだけど、それもなぜか停止してる。
Some reason.
火災が起きて出火場所も把握できてないんだ。
なんだよそれ、めちゃくちゃな状況じゃねえか。放射線が蔓延してるとこで火災も起きてて、しかも外には出られないだと。なんでそんなことに。
落ち着いてください。レスキューが取り乱してどうするのですか。
Yeah, seriously, come on, man.
そうだ
Keep
よ
it together.
ユーリちゃんが余計に怯えちゃうだろ。
She's afraid of us. With realization hitting him full force, Watase looked at Yuri. She was hiding behind Jun and looking at him with trembling eyes.
すまない。
Yeah, she don't trust him. Kazami and Jun were right. He couldn't show such disgraceful behavior in front of a frail girl like Yuri. Regardless of his amnesia, Watase had most likely come down to the basement floors in order to rescue people. But at that moment, he was hit by a sudden question.
あ、そういや、ユーリはどうしてこのラボにいたんだ。
Just then, a tearful look appeared on Yuri's face for some reason.
どうしたんだ。
私は
Yes?
ここの職員の家族です。
Okay.
それでたまたま巻き込まれて。
I don't know how much I trust it.
そうか。それは災難だったな。
Watase turned his thoughts as he kept looking at Yuri. It really has been a disaster for all of us. I really wish we could all get out of here. But he knew it wasn't that simple. In the first place, there was still way too much that he didn't know about his current situation. Why wouldn't the bulkhead open up? Why wasn't the sprinkler system working? Why had he lost his memories? And...
なあ、立花。俺たちはこれからどうすりゃいいんだ。
それについてもご説明したいと思います。
I like her. She's really good at keeping a plan together.
近くに簡易基地を設営してあるから、まずはそこに移動しよう。
They had no choice but to go along with what she said. And so the group's shoulders slumped as they proceeded down the staircase. Once they had left the staircase behind them, Kazami walked towards a nearby room and began talking.
ここが我々が設けた簡易基地です。各部屋の扉を開けるときはこちらのボタンを押すだけで結構ですので。
Kazami pressed the button next to the door, causing it to open just as she said it would. On the other side was a small office about 9 meters long. Various pieces of machinery, apparently the equipment that Kazami and Jun had brought with them, were lying in the corner.
では隊長、このラボの構造を説明します。
こちらにおいでください。
あ、頼む。
Kazami took a pen from the desk and drew a simple map on the back of a piece of paper.
中心にある円形状のエリアがメルトダウンを起こしたとおぼしき原子炉がある特別行動実験棟、通称 N エリアです。
Okay.
この N エリアを他の6つのエリアが取り囲んでいます。各エリアには内周塔と外周塔があり、内周塔は外周塔より少し小
There's
さ
a
い。
lot of sixes going on and I don't know why.
さらに各エリアは地上2階、地下2階の4階層になってますが、先ほど申し上げた通り、地上につながるすべての出入り口には隔壁が降りています。
Yep.
なるほど。俺たちは地下1階と地下2階でしか行動できないってことだな。で、今俺たちはどこにいるんだ？
それはこちらの第2エリアの内周塔。
Okay.
地下隊長が倒れていたのは第1エリア内周塔のこの辺りです。隔壁が降りてから現在
I
に
love
至
the
るまで
little stick
約2
figure.
時間、私と森部で第1第2エリアの捜索を行いましたが、隊長とユーリさんの他に要救助者は発見できませんでした。
Mm.
無論脱出経路もです。地上に続く非常階段は各棟に
So there's still a lot we can search.
すべて隔壁が降りていることを確認済み。
I mean, there's no survivors or no other people, but we can search the areas, yeah?
しかも第2エリア内周塔の1箇所を除き、階段そのものが爆発で崩れてしまっています。
ってことは、他の要救助者を探すにしても、脱出の手がかりを探すにしても、次は第3エリアに行かなきゃいけないのか。
Yep.
いえ、それも
Oh,
そうで
never
は
mind.
ないのです。
なぜ？
各エリアをつなぐ通路にはセキュリティゲートが設けられているのです。先ほど隊長も連絡通路を塞ぐゲートを見たでしょう。
そういえばそんなのあったな。
あのゲートにはロックがかかってまして、開けるためにはこのセキュリティカードが必要になります。
Okay. Can I have one? Kazami took a card out of her pocket at those
こ
words.
れは捜索開始当初、たまたま通路に落ちていたものです。
You just happened to find it? It was a small plastic card that had a lanyard attached to it so it could be worn around the neck. On the front of it was a mugshot and the name of a man who appeared to work at the facility, and the words Level 2.
レベル2。
このラボは各エリアの機密性に応じてセキュリティレベルを設定しているようです。ゲートは内周塔と外周塔をつなぐ通路と各エリア間をつなぐ通路に2枚ずつあります。レベル2のカードがあれば第2エリアまでのゲートを開けることができるのですが、
Okay.
第3エリアに行くにはレベル3、第
Mm.
4エリアに行くにはレベル4と適宜そのエリアに応じたレベルのカード
They
が
got a
必要にな
lot
り
of stuff on lockdown here.
しかし我々は現在レベル2のセキュリティカードしか持っておりません。
じゃあ先に進めないのか？
もちろんカードさえ見つかれば他のエリアへ行くことも可能なのですが、
散々探したんだけど見つかったのってさっきの1枚だけなんだよね。あと探してないのは隊長のポッケくらいかな。
俺のポケットね。
It'd be great if he just had like a level 6 or something that just like gives you access to everywhere. Yeah, right. Like I'm gonna find a level 3 card just conveniently sitting around in my pockets. In spite of what I thought, Watase decided, of that thought, sorry, I was like what I thought, but no, it's that thought. Watase decided to search through his pockets and...
あった。
え？
嘘なもんか。ほら。
He's like, no, for real, I have one. Ukita Keiji, okay. Level 4, ooh. Watase took 2 cards out of his breast pocket. They read Keiji Ukita and Zenshu Kakei. And they both said level 4.
レベル 4？ すごいじゃん。
Nice!
これがあれば第4エリアまで行けるよ。
しかしなぜ隊長がレベル4のカードを
Maybe we killed
そ
him?
れも2枚も。
Is that a horrible thought?
さあ、俺に
Thinking there might be more clues in them, Watase checked his other pockets. and found another strange item in his other breast pocket.
これはなんだ？
シリウス製式の PDA です。我々も持っています。
PDA？
携帯端末ね。レスキュー隊じゃなくても今時持ってない人の方が珍しいよ。
Okay.
機能はまず電話と無線、それと熱源を感知するサーモグラフィー。
どうやって使うんだ？
使用法はこのタッチパネルを。
Watase tried tapping the screen as he listened to Kazumi's instructions. When he did, the screen filled with the primary colors, red, blue, and
赤
yellow.
いところが熱を持っているってことか。
簡易なものですが、状況によっては便利です。
We're gonna need this soon, aren't we?
なるほど。
で、もちろんデータの持ち運びなんかもできるんだけど、なんかデータ入ってない？
どうだろう。
Watase tried just pressing anything that looked potentially helpful. But it didn't look like he'd be able to access any of the data folders. They were all locked with a password.
パスワードだってよ。誰か知らないか？
当然ながら存じません。
Of course not.
電話機能は地下では使えないよ。無線も現在すごく精度が落ちてるし。
さっきも言ってたな。
Despite that, Watase decided to try and use the phone function. He first attempted to call Dojima, the co-worker that Kazami had mentioned earlier. But all he heard was the sound of a dead dial tone. He next tried to use the radio function to contact Hiyama, his other co-worker. But all he heard this time was static. It was the same with every other number and frequency he tried to contact.
ほとんど役立たずじゃねえか。せめてパスワードが分かれば何か手がかりになるかもしれないのにな。
適当に思いついた単語でも入力してみれば？
It was right then that Yuri timidly spoke up.
やめた方がいいと思います。
Why?
どうしてそう思うの？
大事な PDA だから万が一壊れたら大変だし。
Also, a lot of these voices sound familiar, but I don't know who's been in what, so I'll have to look it up later.
そうだな。
Watase put the PDA
と
away.
ころで、立花たちが持ち込んだ備品はどんなものがあるんだ？
ああ、それも覚えてないんだよね。じゃあ、時間ないから手短に説明するよ。
Okay.
すまない。頼む。
Jun nodded and pointed to the equipment lying in the corner.
まずこれが、さ
Okay,
っき登
yep,
録した AD。
definitely know about that.
60分の間、放射線被曝を予防する薬だよ。
今の俺たちの生命線か。
そういうこと。支給されたものプラス施設内にあったものをかき集めてやっと7本。
施設内にも AD があるってことか。
有事の際に備えて箱に入った AD がいくつか保管されてるらしいんだ
They
よ。
just roll around like that? They're just there?
でも第1第2エリアの AD はほとんど消失しちゃったみたい。
4人に対し残り7本ということはこのままじゃ2時間も持たないってことか。
もっと数があった方が安心だね。それも今後探していこう。
Okay, sure.
次にこれ、放射線計測器プロキオン、いわゆるガイガーカウンターの最新版。この小さな機体で15000ミリシーベルトまでの放射線量を計測数値化できるんだ。これと AD はラボの関係者から支給されたもの。これがあったから助かってるようなものだよ。
Yeah, they really are handy. It's almost like the staff gave them to us knowing what was to come.
なにボケっと考え込んで
You
るの？
think?
さっさと次に行くよ。
Okay.
これは我が隊の基本装備ね。
Oxygen.
空気ボンベ。でも免停が破損しちゃって今はほとんど役に立たないんだよ。
そうか。重要そうなのに残念だな。
こいつはエアジャッキ。空気ボンベと組み合わせて圧縮空気の力で重いものを動かす強力なジャッキさ。
That's kind of neat.
空気ボンベを使うのか。 使用回数は有限ってわけだな。
免停が壊れた以上、それが空気ボンベの唯一の用途だね。さて次はエンジンカッター。
Ooh, this looks fancy.
強力な内蔵バッテリーで電動エンジンを駆動。人造ダイヤの刃を回し、鉄でも何でもスパスパ切っちゃう憎いやつ。
Nice.
興奮するなよ、目が怖いぞ。
よく言われるよ。それと10メートルロープが1本で、装備は全部かな。覚えられた？隊長。
Sure.
あ、
It's not that much stuff.
ちなみに他にも放射線防護服が2つあったんですが、
Yeah, your biohazard suits.
防護服は消火活動中に破損して、も
Mm.
う使い物にならない
Okay.
のです。
That's fair enough. Kazami pointed to two ragged objects. Both protection suits had cracked faceplates.
気密性、耐火性、耐水性に優れ、面体部分にボンベを直接装着できることが強みだったのですが、そこが破損してしまったせいで、空気ボンベも役に立たなくなっ
That
てしまいます。
sounds like it was sabotaged too. I'm just paranoid of everything.
でもそういえば隊長も防護服を着ていたはずだよね。どうして今は着てないんだろう。
I don't know.
動きにくそうだから脱いじまったとか。
まさか。本来この施設での救助活動には防護服の着用が義務付けられているんですよ。
そうか。でもわからんな。それも例によって覚えてないんだよ。
Not only had he had two security cards on him, but he also hadn't been wearing his protective suit. There were just too many mysteries about Watase's actions before he lost his memories. Seriously, what in the world was I doing in the basement floors? There was probably no one out there who could answer that question. Watase then spoke with a sigh.
この後、君らはどうするんだ？
ええ、レベル4のカードも手に入りましたし、捜索範囲を拡大するべきだと思いますが。
隊長はどうする？休んでた方がいいかな。
No, I think we should go.
そうですね。まだ記憶も曖昧なご様子ですし。
ああ、確かに。
Oh, okay, fine. I guess we trust them enough, right? Just as Watase was about to take them up on their offer, he locked eyes with Yuri. She still had fear in her eyes. He remembered that voice he'd heard back when they'd rescued her.
止まるな。彼女を助けろ。
He suddenly began wondering if it was really okay for him to just sit around this room. Is saving Yuri and simply leaving it at that all right? No. With his mind made up, Watase called out to Kazami and Jun.
待ってくれ。俺にも要救助者の捜索を手伝わせてくれ。
しかし、
大丈夫なの隊長？
No, probably not. I'm probably mentally, like compromised, I guess is the best way to say it, but
確かに記憶
I think
は
we should
曖昧
go.
だし、お前らから見たら足手まといかもしれないけど、腐っても俺はレスキュー隊なんだろ。だったら一人だけ休んでいるなんて耐えられないんだよ。
Watase was stirred on by an impulsive sense of duty. Kazami's eyes widened. She then gave a wry smile.
らしいというか。
Her face then suddenly grew serious again.
隊長、本来であれば記憶喪失の原因も不明ですし、動向は推奨できません。ですが、火災の恐れもありますし、AD も投与し続けなければならない。
She's got a point.
ならば、我々と共に行動するのが一番安全かもしれません。
そうか。だったら。
ただし、
Uh-oh.
これは通常の現状ではありません。隊員として同行するならば、それ相応の覚悟をしていただきます。
Yeah, that's fine. That's fair. I trust her. All right, let's do it. Yep.
記憶が戻るまでは、隊長を新人隊員として扱います。
Okay.
隊長は森部と同様、私の指揮下に入ってください。比例は重々承知ですが、 そうでもしなければ命に関わり
Yeah,
ます。
I agree.
どうかご容赦を。
Like, we didn't know that whole fire hose spraying technique, you know, they know a lot of stuff. Because if anything, it's like you trained her at some point, right? Because you were her captain. So she knows what she needs to do. Why would you try to throw that away? Watase felt overpowered by Kazami's words.
了解だ。
But he fired himself up by answering loud and clear. June shrugged her shoulders when she saw that.
いや隊長、なんか面白い展開になってきたね。それじゃあ一時のこととはいえしばらく同輩としてよろしく頼むよ。
そうだな。こちらこそよろしくな。
それではしばらくご辛抱を。記憶さえ戻れば誰より有能な隊長に戻れるはずですので。
うん、それを期待したいところだね。
そうなのか。
His old self must have been someone amazing if Kazami and Jun were counting on him so much. So I have to live up to their expectations as soon as possible. With that thought in mind, Watase turned to Yuri.
ユーリはどうする？ここで休んでいるか？
A look of hesitation briefly flashed Yuri's face as she heard that question, but she answered quickly. Oh, okay.
一緒に行きます。
I mean, you don't want to be trapped in a fiery room again, right? She probably just realized how grim the situation was after listening to the group's conversation. I'd feel better if she was with us too. Kazami spoke up as that thought crossed Watase's mind.
では4人全員で第3エリアへ向かうことにしましょう。
Let's do it.
それじゃあ抵抗する装備を選ぼう。隊長も手伝って。
おう。
And so the group quickly decided on their gear. First, they took all 7 AD, splitting them amongst Watase, Kazami, and Jun. Watase and Jun each took 1 Procyon. Meanwhile, Watase and Kazami split the level 4 cards amongst themselves. Watase also took the 10-meter rope, wrapping it around his upper body in an X shape. Perhaps they were all too lightly equipped, but they decided that mobility took precedence above all else.
皆さん準備はできま
So
した
we're not taking the air cushion, the pump thing, the lift of heavy objects?
いつでも行けるぜ。
それじゃあ行くよ。隊長、足引っ張んないでね。
I won't.
精一杯頑張るよ。
I don't know what I can do in my condition, but I'll do my best. Watase swore to that. Then he left the makeshift base alongside Kazami and the others. The group headed for Area 3 as quickly as they could. One of the security gates that Kazami had mentioned earlier came into view when they approached the connecting passageway. Kazami pointed to a terminal next to the gate.
これがカードスロットです。ここにカードを通せばゲートは開きます。一度開けたゲートも再び通過する際にはその都度カードが必要になります。
わかった。
So don't lose it. Got it. He looked at Jun as he said this. She then pulled out her Procyon and stared at it hard.
何をしてるんだ？
二捜索の場所に入る前にはプロキオンを使って放射線量をチェ
Smart
ック
girl.
しなきゃ。
このゲートの先は我々にとって未知の領域ですからね。
Kazami and Jun's faces were dead serious. Watase took the card out as nervousness took hold of him and swiped it through the slot. The gate opened with a loud sound. Watase and Jun both studied their Procyons carefully. The number was 1285 MSV, slightly higher than the reading they'd gotten in Area 1 earlier.
よし、安全基準地内だ。
安全基準地内。
汚染はされてるけど比較的安全ってことだよ。
安全基準値が4000ミリシーベルト。
4,000?
これは AD 投与の上なら被爆の危険は皆無という値です。
Okay.
第一危険基準値が4000ミリシーベルトから8000ミリシーベルト。これは AD 投与の上でも長時間の被爆は望ましくない。
Okay, we're probably gonna have to make a tough choice later.
第二危険基準値8000ミリシーベルト以上は
Dang.
AD 投与の上でも生命の保証なしです。
要するに4000ミリシーベルト以内なら AD があれば大丈夫。 4000ミリシーベルトを超えたら AD があってもちょっとやばい。
Yep.
8000ミリシーベルトを超えたら AD があっても死にかねないってわけか。
Got it memorized.
ええ、危険基準値を超えた汚染区域ではプロキオンが警告音を発します。万が一警告音が鳴ったら速やかにその場を離れてください。
あ、わかった。
The group passed through the gate as they talked. Whoa. The further they walked down the connecting passageway, the worse the damage got. The walls had been burned to hell and back, and the ceiling was damaged too.
ひでえな。
ここでも爆発が起きたようですね。
Basically everywhere exploded. And then, just when they'd finished rounding a corner, the whole group gasped. What's with this music here? There was a woman dangling upside down from the ceiling. It looked like she was sticking her lower torso into the air duct.
これは一体。
シュールな光景。
As Kazami and Jun stared in utter disbelief, the woman's eyes widened with shock.
あ、俺たちはレスキュー隊のものだが。
You good there? You alright?
レスキュー隊？ちょうどよかった。出られなくなっちゃったの。引っ張ってちょうだい。
わかった。
森部、エアダクト直下で待機。この方が頭から落下しないように。
Kazami's so good. She's so
了
smart.
解。それじゃせーの。
The rescue squad then frantically pulled the woman's body and safely rescued her.
助かったわ。
The woman, now standing upright on the floor, said this with a bit of embarrassment in her voice. It seemed that she was also a survivor.
しかし、何やってたんだ、あんた。
Yeah, how did you get in there?
あれよあれ。
What? The woman pointed to the air duct on the ceiling.
なぜか急にゲートが閉まってこの通路に閉じ込められちゃったからエアダクトから逃げられないか試してたのよ。
But like,
天井から取れたケーブルを使ってなんとかあそこまでよじ登ったんだけどね。エアダクト内を動き回ってたらずり落ちそうになってあのざまよ。
それは苦労されましたね。ですが、このエアダクトは脱出には使えません。
そうなの？
ええ、調べましたが、ダクト内に何か機械のようなものが設置されています。地上に続く部分は完全に通行不能です。
you might have been sliced to pieces.
あら残念。まあここから地上に出るつもりはなかったけどこの通路の中から脱出したかっただけよ。
The woman said that calmly. Don't tell me. She doesn't know what's going on right now. With that thought weighing on his mind, Watase faced the woman and called out.
あんたはこのラボの職員か。
いいえ六名学園高等部の教師よ。
A teacher?
六名学園。
知らないの？市内の特化学校よ。
Now that he thought about it, her smartly dressed attire was befitting of a teacher. But it was covered in soot, just like the rest of the group. She'd probably been through the ringer.
そんなことよりあなたたち救助に来たんでしょ？とりあえず外に連れてってよ。
She looked at Watase with eyes full of expectation. But all he could do was answer her with a bit of guilt in his heart.
実は
The woman's face grew more and more pale the further he explained about their current predicament. It only got worse when he told her that the phones and radios were down and the elevators weren't working. But it wasn't until she heard the part about how there was no way to the surface that she finally started shouting desperately.
そんな各駅が閉まったってどういうこと？
原因はこちらでもつかめておりません。
そんなもの壊してしまえばいいじゃない。なんかこう特殊装備的なもので。
I mean, we do have that, like, saw that we could use.
あたしらも散々試したんだよ。 でもエンジンカッターでも全く歯が立たないんだ。
They are covering every possible thing I could think of trying to do to get out of here.
我々の装備ではあの隔壁の破壊は不可能です。
レスキューってのも案外使えないのね。
Alright, shove her back in the ceiling. Leave her there.
確かに我々の装備では破壊できませんが、地上にいる隊員の装備の中には爆薬もあるはずです。いずれあの隔壁を破壊し増援が来ることでしょう。だから今はどうかご勘弁を。
そう仕方ないわね。
The woman let out an exasperated sigh.
あんたね。
Kazumi held back Jun as the latter snarled angrily.
そんなことよりまずは AD を投与しましょう。
あ、そうか。そうしなきゃまずいぞ。
AD？ 何のこと？
AD というのはつまり
Just do it. Kazumi explained AD to the woman. She also told her about the radiation filling the facility, the danger standards, and the Procyon. The woman's attitude took a complete 180 after she heard all that.
放射線？
ええ。なお放射線障害の自覚症状は内臓、皮膚、目に現れやすいです。嘔とか皮膚の痛み、視界の霞みなどはありませんか？
Yeah, you alright? You good?
とりあえず大丈夫みたいだけど。
よかった。今から AD 打てばきっと大丈夫だ。
でも早くした方がいいよ。そうしないとその憎まれ口も叩けなくなっちゃうから。
わかったわ。これを打てばいいのね。
そうそう、素直でよろしい。
She's gonna do it to herself? You guys aren't gonna administer it? Jun held the AD out to the woman. She proceeded to quickly inject herself with it.
これでいいのよね。
She was now a lot calmer and quieter, showing no signs of the hysterical woman that had been yelling at them just a few minutes ago. It seemed she finally understood the situation she was in.
ところで、あんた名前はなんて言うんだ？
椿山えなよ。あなた方は？
The group promptly answered Enna's question.
私は副隊長の立花。こちらは森部隊員です。
で、こっちがさっき救助した民間人の有利だよ。
民間人？私以外にもこの事故に巻き込まれた人がいたの？
Yuri gave this timid answer, then followed up with a question of her own.
先生はどうしてここに？
Yuri politely referred to Enna as a professor. Enna appeared to be used to being called that, and she answered Yuri's question without the slightest hint of awkwardness.
私はここの職員に呼ばれてきたの。
But why?
そうしたらいきなり爆発が起きて、みんながパニックになって、よくわからないうちにここに閉じ込められちゃったの。
そいつは災難だったな。
何を人事みたいに。レスキュー隊ってのはもっと
Why is she gonna snap at me?
になるものじゃないの？
I didn't do it. I didn't cause the explosion. Maybe, probably, hopefully.
そうか。
I'm gonna go like here with her. Not full on, but not the worst. Maybe. Enna glared at Watase.
そういえば、あなただけまだ名乗ってないわね。あなたは何？
あ、俺は笠崎渡瀬。一応この隊の隊長だ。
隊長さんなの？一応ってなんだか頼りなさそうだけど。
I think we should shove her back in the ceiling.
そう言わないでくれよ。とにかくよろしくな、先生。
え？隊長さん。
Okay, so not super buddy, but you know, just a little jab here and there. Enna said this with a slightly sarcastic tone in her voice. But still, it must have been hard for her to be trapped in a place like this all alone. Kazumi's words mirrored the thoughts passing through Watase's mind.
それでは先に進みましょう。他にも要救助者がいるかもしれません。
The group started walking again at that suggestion. They were at a security gate at the end of the passageway, but a swipe of the security card quickly took care of it. And with that, the group of 5 entered Area 3. Area 3, Inner Ring B2. This area was considerably different from all the other floors. The walls were made of unfaced concrete, and the ceiling steel frame and cables were completely exposed. Watase checked his Procyon to find the display read 1381 MSV.
ここも安全みたいだな。
安全ね。本来なら異常な線量なんでしょうけど。
AD がある限りは大丈夫ってことだよ。それにこのエリアは幸い火の気もなさそうだし。
But the moment Jun said that,
この映像はなんで彼らが
the group heard a voice coming from somewhere.
人がいるみたいですね。
あ
Watase thought he heard the voice coming from the room right in front of him. The door was labeled Surveillance Room.
おいここにいるのか
A voice filled with surprise echoed in reply to Watase's unconscious shouts.
その声は隊長さんか
It's the rest of the team.
何あんた俺を知ってるのか知ってるも何も
Someone was talking to him on the other side of the door. However, Watase didn't recognize the speaker's voice. Who is it? Watase timidly opened the door. Standing on the other side was a man in a lab coat.
隊長さん戻ってきたのか
Kazami and Jun's eyes simultaneously widened as soon as they heard the man's voice.
浮田さん。
なんでおじさんがここにいるの？
Uh-oh.
君たちも一緒に
The man named Ukita said this with bewilderment.
ちょっと待ってくれお前らもこの人と知り合いなのか
ええ。先週この方が自動車事故に遭遇したところを我々が救助したんです。
Oh.
まさかおじさん2週続けて
Oh,
事故
no.
とか災害に遭遇してたってわけ？
Dude, you have bad luck.
ああ、僕もこんな事態になるなんて夢にも思っていなかったがね。
A bitter look appeared on Ukita's face as he said that. I don't really know the circumstances, but anyone would be bitter over having luck this bad 2 weeks in a row. And if Kazami and Jun saved him once before, then it made sense that he knew them well.
なるほどなところであんた避難に遅れちまったのか
ね、何をふざけたことを言ってるんだね。僕をこのエリアに閉じ込めたのは君じゃないか。
What? Watase froze in confusion at the angry look that suddenly appeared on the man's face.
ちょっと待ってくれ詳しい事情を教えてくれないか
君が一番よく知ってるんじゃないのかね。
それがその
Yeah, I don't
実
remember.
は少し前に頭を強く打ったらしく記憶が混濁してるんだ
記憶が混濁してるだ。
Ukita wasn't the only one to react to Watase's explanation.
ちょっと聞いてないわよ。
Hi, Anna.
まさか記憶喪失ってやつ？映画じゃあるまいし、そんなことってあるの？
Oh yeah, apparently in anime all the
い
time.
や二人が信じられないのもわかるが
映画などに出てくる長期的な記憶喪失は極めて稀ですが、短期的な記憶の混濁ならば起こり得ないことではありません。
Kazami came to Watase's defense at the perfect time. Ukita spent a long moment doubtfully at Watase, but eventually came to a decision and spoke.
わかったよ。ここは信じるとしようじゃないか。
ありがとうあんたは
ああ、僕は浮田刑事。見ての通り、このラボの研究員だ。
Keiji Ukita. That name sounded familiar to Watase. We have his ID card. He thought his memories were coming back for a moment, but that wasn't the case. For he had seen the words Keiji Ukita after he'd woken up. It was a name that had been written on one of the cards he found
じゃ
earlier.
あこのカードあんたの持ち物か
あ、やはり君が持っていたのか。
Ukita swiped the card out of Watase's hands.
あのよ浮田さんどうして俺はあんたからカードを奪ったんだっけ
Why did I do that
なんだ
again?
か妙な質問だが、まあいい。 さて、どう説明したものやら。
Ukita thought for a bit before he began to talk.
僕は同僚たちが全員避難する中、なんとかこの事態を収拾しようと思ったんだ。それがここの職員の責務だと思ってね。だがまるでうまくいかず、まごまごしているうちにケース N が発令されて、
Okay.
愕然としていたところ隊長さんに会ったんだ。今から2時間くらい前のことかな。
Give him AD, please.
隊長はその時何と言っていましたか？
俺が出口を探してくる。だが火災が激しくて危険だからあんたはこの部屋で待機しているように。
I guess that's logical.
でも僕はそれを聞き入れなかった。パニックになって暴れてしまったのさ。だから隊長さんは僕からカードを取り上げたんだ。
I mean, I get it. Like, if there's a fire or something, you're screwed, you know? So I get both sides.
まあ僕を案じてのことだったとは思うが、あまりに一方的だったものでね。それで僕は腹を立てていたんだよ。
うわぁ、隊長ってば融通の利かないとこあるからな。
そうだったのか。それはすまないことをした。おそらくすぐ戻ってくるつもりだったんだろうが。
いや、もういいんだ。ところでそちらの女性たちは？
Ukita glanced at Ena and Yuri as he asked this.
私は椿山エナ。この施設に呼ばれてやってきた高校教師よ。
私、ユーリ、ラボの研究員の家族です。
教師に家族か。
Mm-hmm.
だが妙だな。この施設は警備が厳重で、そうそう地下フロアまでは入れないようになっているはずなんだがね。
そうなのか。どういうことだ、二人とも。
Ena grew and exasperated at the rest of the group's confusion.
そんなのこっちが聞きたいわよ。なんで早朝から呼び出されたのかもわからないんだもの。横柄な職員の人に地下に通された直後、例の爆発が起きて、わけわかんないうちに閉じ込められたの。
職員？
野島さんとか言ったかしら。
Okay.
あの人、ここで待ってなさいとか言ってさっさとどこかに行っちゃったわ。まったく冗談じゃないわよ。
そう、私もそんな感じです。
I'm gonna save really quick. Yuri, I don't know. Oh, I have to trust him. I was like, I don't know about Yuri, if I should trust her or not, but I guess I don't have a choice on that. No, I don't want to do that. I guess we'll be a little on the cautious side.
なんか昨日の夜遅くお迎えが来て地下フロアに泊まるように言われて
Okay.
寝て起きたらこんなことになっていて
Aww.
お母さんもいないし私もう怖くて。
何よ。だったら私たちは巻き込まれた被害者じゃない。あれこれ詮索される言われなんてないわよ。
そうか。それはすまない。
Ukita seemed to be pondering something as he said that. Kazami cut into the conversation and gave him a curious
と
glance.
ころで浮田さん、AD の投与はお済みですか？
Yeah, there we go.
あ、AD か。隊長さんにもらったのを投与していたが、もうすべて使い切ってしまった。最後に投与したのは1時間近く前だ。
As expected, a researcher like Ukita knew all about AD.
ならこれを使ってくれ。
Watase handed Ukita an AD. The latter practically snatched it out of his hands and injected himself with it. We're getting short on those things. Yeah, we're running out of those real fast. Ukita threw aside an empty AD ampule as anxiety began worming its way into Watase's mind.
それよりレスキュー隊の諸君、ちょっとこのモニターを見てくれないか。実は状況を把握するために監視カメラの映像記録を調べていたんだが、ちょっと気になる映像があってね。
Which is?
先ほどそんな独り言をおっしゃってましたね。
気になる映像って何？
これは6時21分、第2エリアの映像なんだ。
That's like right at the beginning. Ukita operated the control panel. A second later, the monitor displayed an image taken by the surveillance cameras. A frozen image depicted 3 children. There was a boy with glasses and a blonde girl. They couldn't make out the face of the last one, but it appeared to be a girl as well. They were all wearing what appeared to be school uniforms. It was then that Anna and June both spoke at the same time.
どうして天川くんたちがここに？
What?
じゃあこっちはましろちゃんとルイーズちゃん？
2人とも知ってるのか？
もちろん3人とも私が副担任を務めるクラスの生徒よ。
私はあの子たちとは先週たまたま知り合って。
Okay.
なんだって？
Watase's surprise only furthered with Ukita's following comment.
実を言うと、僕もこの3人の子供たちとは面識があるんだ。
Really?
どういう関係なんだ？
まず僕とこの少年は家が隣同士なんさ。それに少年の母親もこの施設に勤めていてね。
And they came into this highly guarded facility this easy?
じゃあ彼らはその母親に会いに来たのか？
さあ、それは僕にもわからないが、ともかく他にも同様の映像がいくつかあるんだ。そして最後の映像
I don't
は
know.
7時12分、第5エリアの映像だよ。
When he heard that, Watase instantly understood what Ukita was getting at.
7時12分の映像ということは隔壁が降りたのは7時頃のはずだから。
Yep, they're there. They're here.
ああ、ここにいる6名以外に少なくともあと3名このラボに閉じ込められているということだ。
何？
Watase looked back at the image on the monitors. What were they doing here? Did they really come here to visit the boy's mother? Or was there some other
先
reason?
生、この高校生たちの名前は？
男の子が天川夏彦くん、あとの女の子2人は鳥羽真白さんと三宮ルイーズゆいさんよ。
All those names sounded vaguely familiar to him. He felt a kinship from them, like he'd known them all for a long time. Could it be that I went down to the basement to save these kids? He turned to Ukita as he pondered
この
that.
3人が閉じ込められてるってのは確実なのか？
まあおそらくそうだとは思うが確認はできない。
Ukita pointed to a phone in the corner of the room.
緊急用の電話も死んでるんでね。
Yeah,
PDA も
we can't communicate with anybody here.
私たちも試したんだけどね。やっぱりダメなのか。
Anna suddenly perked her head up when she heard that.
そうだ、誰か BC を使える人はいないの？
BC？
BC?
そうよ、テレパシーとか。 それで外と通信すれば少しは状況がわかると思うのだ。
What?
テレパシーって？
Watase's eyes widened at that totally out of place word.
先生、こんな時に何の冗談だ？
あら、隊長さんの記憶障害も深刻ね。そんなことも忘れてしまったの？
What?
テレパシーを使える人なんて最近じゃそう珍しいことではないわよ。
Okay, you're dropping like an actual bombshell in the game now.
マジか？
Yeah. Watase looked at the others in total shock. But he was the only surprised one there.
立花、先生の言ってることは本当か？
ええ、本当です。ここで言うテレパシーというのは離れた場所にいる人に
So that's how we heard the save her.
確かにテレパシーを使えれば外と連絡もできるとは思いますが、
でも珍しくないとは言ってもさ、実際に使えるのは500人に1人って割合だよ。それに BC の使い手はなぜか子供に多く、大人で使える人は輪をかけて稀なんだ。隊長はもちろんレスキュー隊に使える人はいなかったよ。
もちろん僕も使えない。
I'm old.
私無理です。BC 苦手なんです。
You're bad at it, which means you can try? Everyone had answered with a serious look on their faces. It was still hard for him to believe, but after seeing their reactions, it seemed Watase had no choice but to accept it as
本
truth.
当なんだな。じゃあ他の超能力を使える人はいるのか？例えばあれだ、瞬間移動とか念力とか。
できるわけないでしょ。そういうのはオカル
Well,
ト
I
の
don't
領
know
域だ
what
わ。
we can and can't do right now.
テレパシーはオカルトじゃないのかよ。
Yeah.
BC は 科学的に存在が立証された能力よ。超のつかないね。 BC とはビヨンドコミュニケーション、言葉を介さずに行う一種のコミュニケーション手段。
Okay.
要は離れたところにいる人と意思を伝え合う能力よ。それ以外のことはできないわ。
It appeared that this BC had very limited uses. But even if what she said was
まあ
true,
確かにテレパシーでも何でも使えた方が便利だろうけど、500人に1人の人材が都合よくここにいるわけないよな。
でもあの子たちはテレパシーが使えるのよ。
じゃあ彼らがいれば外と通信できるのか。
いればだけどね。ああ、もう情けないわ。私が使えれば話が早いのに。
just then, Enna's words were cut off by the sudden sound of a voice and white noise echoing throughout the room. We can hear him.
無線です。久しぶりに外と通信がつながったようです。
Kazami took out her PDA and spoke directly into it.
カンあり、シリウス A チーム副隊長、立花です。
立花、ようやく無線が復帰したようだな。
ですが、相変わらず通話状況は極めて不安定です。この通話もいつまで持つか分かりません。で
は、手短に報告せよ。そちらの現況は？
はい、現在我々は。
Kazami then told the commander, Murakami, everything that had transpired up until that point. About how they'd reunited with Watase and then saved Yuri, Enna, and Ukita. It appeared she was keeping Watase's amnesia a secret for now. Once Kazami had finished her report, Commander Murakami paused, then spoke again in a defeated voice.
では、堂島と檜山もやはり地上にはいないのですね。
ああ、地上と地下で完全に分断されてしまったようだな。
That's not good. Kazami listened calmly to Commander Murakami's solemn voice before speaking again.
それより司令長、隔壁が降りた理由について何か聞いていないでしょうか。
実はこちらでも情報が錯綜しているんだが、まず伝えるべきことがある。
Yes.
地下にある原子炉がメルトダウンを起こした。これは確実のようだ。
やはり。
6時19分の爆発発生直後、ラボの技術者は地上フロアの遠隔制御室から原子炉の緊急停止作業を開始した。だがそれから通常では考えられないような事態が次々と発生した。一次冷却水の循環不全、水圧調整計の故障、ベントの駆動停止等。技術者たちは全力を尽くしメルトダウンを阻止しようとしたが、必死の努力も虚しく、それは起きてしまった。そして隔壁が閉まった原因もここにある。
Okay.
メルトダウンと同時に放射能漏洩防止システムが作動したんだ。
放射能漏洩防止システム。
ああ、放射性物質の拡散を防ぐためにな。
ではその隔壁なんですが、一時的にでも開けていただくことはできないんでしょうか。
Expectation filled the group's faces when they heard Kazami's suggestion. However,
それが言い方いんだが、
of course.
現状それは不可能とのことなんだ。
不可能？なぜ？
どうやら原子炉のある N エリアで今もメルトダウンによる大火災が続いているらしい。
Dang. So if you open it, it's going to cause an explosion.
そのためにセキュリティシステムが暴走し、外部からアクセスできなくなっているそうだ。
Oh, that too. Okay.
火災が静まればシステム暴走も止まるらしいが、 N エリアの自動消火システムはすでに破壊されており、鎮火は期待できない。なので現在ラボ関係者が総力を挙げてシステムの復旧を図っているが、
復旧までにはどのくらいかかりそうなんですか？
予想ではあと約9時間とのことだ。
Jeez. Everyone gasped at the words 9 hours.
冗談ではありません。隔壁を爆破してでも脱出口を開いてください。
すまない立場だ。それはできないんだ。
どうして C4 爆弾を使えばいいではないですか。
地上と地下を隔てる床と隔壁は 80構造の耐熱対衝撃複合交番だ。
Dang, that's a lot.
程度ではどうにもならん。水蒸気爆発や水素爆発にも耐えられるように設計されているんだ。
It makes sense.
我々の装備程度では。
The normal composed Kazami was in total shock.
要救助者が多数いるんです。どうにかならないのですか？
こちらでも手は尽くすが、時間の。
Suddenly, his voice started only coming out in bursts.
司令長、声が途切れてます。
信号不安定だ。ガンがない。ラボ関係者からの伝言を伝える。
Okay. The commander apparently realized that the transmission was reaching its limits, as he started talking much faster without pausing.
時代に備え、施設内の各所に AD が設置してある。
Okay.
それを投与し続けろ。そして汚染区域に近づくな。
Okay.
そうすれば必ず生き延びられる。
His voice was full of grief and pain. Kazami quietly listened to him with a bitter look on her face.
司令長、また声が。
ないのか。通信がまた限界。
司令長、司令長。
Kazami desperately called out to him, but the only reply she got was the cruel hiss of static from the radio. Oh man. Okay, I'm actually gonna go ahead and leave this episode here because I feel like there's still quite a bit to go, and I don't know when it's gonna end. So that was a good first episode. Very intense, a lot of stuff going on. I'm curious to see where it's gonna go. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next MAMJ Let's Play.